Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about controlling flow with labels, go-to statements, and return statements. So let's see what these are. Let's say that I have an equals to 42 dot and then equals to 5 dot. So what's going to happen is that this one is going to be executed first, and then this one is going to be executed. So let's just see that out. We get the 42. Then we get the 5. But sometimes we want the 5 to be where the start of the program is. So what we can do is we can add the label start here. And at the start of the code, we can just jump to this label using this single quote statement. So the single quote will jump to the label with the @ symbol. Let's see how that works. We jump right into 5, and then the program ends. We only get a single 5. What if we do want to get the 42 afterwards? What we can do is we can use more labels and call this hello. And then after we have executed the 5, we go to the hello using a single quote. And so we compile, and then we take the first step. We jump right into the 5. Then we move from the label to the label hello, and we get the 42. And then the code continues, and we get another 5. And then it continues, and we get another 42. Yeah. So maybe we want to go to the end after this 42. So what we can do is either create a go to the end by creating also a label at the very end. And so in this case, we will only have the 5 and the 42. Or we can use the return command, which is the tilde. Yeah. And so we go to the 5. Then we take this and jump to the label hello. We get a 42. And then that's the end of the program because of this tilde. But maybe what we want to do isn't to just jump to the hello. Maybe we want to jump to the hello, do its thing, and then return. And that's when instead of using the single quote, we use the double quote. And so if we have the double quote, it will go to the hello, do its thing, and then once it reaches the tilde, it will return and execute the 4. So we do the 5, then we get the 42, and then we get the 4. And we can loop this, for example. We go to the hello part 4 times, and so what we would get would be 4 42s between the 5 and the 4. Okay, so now we're familiar with the @ label, the go to single quote, and the go to and return double quote. So let's see how we can use them to make music. We first reopen our collection and see how it sounds at the moment. Okay, and so we're going to go to the lead, and we're going to first have a look at these notes. When I press F5, I get this compile to source. And what is happening is it's telling us what these are transformed into. I can see that this P1 is here. And I now notice that every node has this label. And if it's not connected to anything, it has this tilde. If I connect this to this, for example, and I save it, and I do F5, now this P1 is going to, where's my @p1? Here's my @p1, and it's going into the P2 instead of going to our return. Okay. And so the other thing I notice is that there's my nodes down here, but there's also a header that is always written in advance, which includes the tables that are defined. And the header always includes a go to jump statement to a label called start, which is why we always start by creating a label called start. Okay. Now let's have a look at another thing we've seen before, but we can now understand. This is the measure machine, and the measure machine has a different header. This is the different header. And it includes what is called the standard harmonies, which is just a lot of functions that we can use. And those are the ones that we use here by using the goto and return statement. We are calling the bmin, which just sets a lot of values within the harmony table. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see how we can do a few more fun stuff. So let's move to the base. And the first thing I'm going to do is remove the infinite loops. And let's try to recreate those loops with just labels. So I can use a Control L to create a new label, which I'm going to call loop. And I'm going to create a new goto statement with Control G, which you can also find here, which is I'm going to call it also loop. And now the start is going to move here, and here is going to move into the loop, and the loop is going to move back here. And so we should have exactly what we had before, an infinite loop going. It's just that now the flow starts here, it executes this code, it gets into a goto, and goes to the loop and continues. But now what we could do is we could add a branch. A branch is a type of node that just goes into different nodes depending on one of several conditions. We're going to use the random one for now. And this means that this loop, it's going to start here. It's going to flow and do this one. Then it's going to go to this label, and so it jumps to this label. Then it's going to branch, and it's going to randomly choose between this one or this one, and then it's going to return to the loop. So let's see how that sounds like. And so we notice that sometimes it's taking this branch and sometimes it's taking this branch, which gives us a quite interesting sound. The next thing we're going to look at is the last of the nodes that we haven't seen. We have seen the passage, we have seen the branch, we have seen the label, the goto. Let's see the goto and return, which is Control R. And so what it does is it jumps to a label, but then it returns to where it was. So what I can do is, for example, have a label. I can make a paragraph, and I can create a label like this, setup, and I can just take this here, remove it, and move it here. Yeah. And then what I can do is, from the start, we go and first do the setup, and then we do whatever we were doing before. Yeah. And this, we can use it with a label here, or we can do it with its own label here. It's up to your preference. So let's see how that sounds. It sounds as expected, the same as before, because all we did was move things around by using the goto and return node and by creating a little function here. Let's see one last example, which is I'm going to take this and just, I'm going to actually take this one, which is a bit simpler, and I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it. And let's mess around with this one. What we want to do is first save and see the changes. What I want to do is to surround this first node with 2 mines. And so I'm going to create a function, which I'm going to call it by using a label. And I'm going to call it mine, because it's going to put mines. And what I'm going to do is I am going to move down 2 and then change the type to the type of mines, which is 4, and which I can remember by using this cheat sheet, which is telling me that 4 is the type of mines. And then I'm going to tap without forwarding by using .2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up by 4 and also tap without moving forward. And then I'm going to move down by 2. And then I'm going to return to the type equals to 0. And so what I can do now is I can add here in front of this dot, I can add a mine. And so what's going to happen is sequentially it moves to 6. And before tapping the 6, it changes the 6 for a 4, taps a mine, changes the 4 for an 8, types a mine, then returns to 6, and then returns to the previous non-mine, and then we tap the node. So let's see how that looks. Yeah. And so in many cases, we can use labels and goto and returns as a way to avoid having to rewrite common behavior that you will be using a lot in your tracks. Yeah, I think we will end on a playtest, and yeah. Goodbye.